What up, this is my DVD review of Ring of Honor's Vendetta #2, and the first matchup was intendedly scheduled to be a four-corner survival match with Alex Sugarfoot Payne, Silas Young, Rhett, Titus, and Delirious, but ended up turning into a tag match when Rhett Titus got on the mic and said, "Delirious, I'm not here to fight you. I want to team up with you. How about we team up against each other to take on Silas Young and Alex Payne?" And pretty much this match was pretty much built in the storyline form of pretty much revolving around the Rhett Titus, Delirious, and Daizee Haze love triangle storyline that was going on at that point. And what they did in this match was a lot of times Delirious and Rhett Titus didn't want to work with each other, didn't want to really help each other out, especially Rhett Titus. And there was points in this match where Delirious and Rhett Titus were pretty much getting distracted with Daizee Haze being out there, but Rhett Titus and Delirious do pick up the victory. The end of the match comes when Delirious was about to pick up the victory for his team by rolling up Alex Payne, but before that, Delirious got blind tagged from Rhett Titus, and Rhett Titus pretty much came in there and pretty much stole the victory away from Delirious. So his team the team of Rhett Titus and Delirious win, but they do it in the fashion where Rhett Titus pretty much tries to, make himself seem, better than Delirious and try to, pick this win up to impress Daizee Haze. And this was the only match on this whole entire show, I would say, that wasn't that good. 1.5 stars. The next match probably would have worked out a whole lot better if it would have been the opener, and that was Erick Stevens versus Briscoe. A lot of good stuff in this match, good back and forth action. Really enjoyed it. These two really worked out good against each other, meshed very well. Not that much to say about it, but just a enjoyable match. Erick Stevens picks up the victory after hitting the Dr. Bomb onto Briscoe in a 3-star match. Then the next matchup was a match that kind of surprised me. It wasn't a great match, but it was a whole lot better than I was expecting. That was Chris Hero versus Pelle Primeau in a lights out match. And the stipulation of the lights out match is pretty much it's a last man standing match where your opponent has to be down for the 10 count for you to pick up the victory. And this was actually pretty good between Pelle and Chris Hero. Good back and forth action. They did it in the way, obviously, like any Pelle Primeau match or any match he's involved in. Pretty much him being the underdog role, which I normally do not like that much, but Pelle is one of those wrestlers that it's kind of the exception to the rule because actually he does a good job of playing that role. And what they did in this match was it seemed like Pelle was actually going to get the upset victory onto Chris Hero. What they did was near the end of the match, Brent Albright came out there, hit the half Nelson suplex to Chris Hero, and then after this, it seems like right around the 8 or 9 count, Chris Hero and Pelle were both down. Pelle was about to get up. Chris Hero kind of distracted the ref and pulled him away, distracted him, and at that point, Sara Del Rey got on the apron and kicked Pelle in the back of the head, and he fell down, and Chris Hero gets up and picks up the victory onto Pelle Primeau. So kind of a bad ending, but it makes sense with Chris Hero and Sweet and Sour Incorporated being out there. So 2 1/4 star match, a whole lot better than I expected. I was expecting a dud or something completely terrible, but you did see some good stuff. Pelle actually did do some, okay stuff in the match. Then the next matchup was a tag team match with Kevin Steen and El Generico versus the Age of the Fall of Tyler Black and Necro Butcher. And you saw some good stuff in this match from Kevin Steen and Necro Butcher, like they've worked good in the past. El Generico and Tyler Black worked out good. A good portion of this match was Tyler Black in the ring versus Kevin Steen and El Generico. The Necro was pretty much brawling with Kevin Steen at the beginning of the match. Good overall tag team match. And what they did was, near the end of the match, Alice in Wonderland, which is the one woman that's in the corner of the Age of Fall all the time, came out there, distracted the ref, and at that point, Tyler Black got a steel chair, hit Kevin Steen with it, and Necro Butcher rolled him up, so Necro Butcher and Tyler Black pick up the victory, and a pretty solid tag match, definitely worthy of being 3 stars. Then the next matchup was Claudio Castagnoli versus Bryan Danielson. Now, this was an incredible match, good technically sound match, good back and forth action. If you're into the technical aspect, mat wrestling, you will be a fan of this match. A lot of excellent stuff in this. These two meshed very well, like I was expecting them to anyway. And even though this was a good technical match, within this one match, they actually did a good comical spot where some people will say if you try to do that technical match, it might ruin the match. But in this case, it didn't. It was actually kind of funny. What they did was, obviously, at one point they had Claudio Castagnoli and the airplane spin from Bryan Danielson, and then Bryan Danielson took the big swing from Claudio. Then after that, jokingly, Bryan Danielson at first went to Todd St. Clair, the referee, and said, "I'm going to pick you up for the airplane spin." Did that, got him a little loopy and dizzy. Then at that point, Claudio Castagnoli tried to get him do the airplanes, do the big swing to him, and Bryan Danielson said, "No, he's had enough." So that was a pretty comical spot of that match. And one of the very few times the crowd actually cheers for Todd St. Clair. That's probably one of the very few times I've ever seen that happen. Unless, maybe when Nigel loses the title, that'll probably be another time the crowd will cheer for him just because he counted 3 against him. But this was a good technical match, a lot of good back and forth action. Claudio actually picks up the victory after hitting the pop-up European uppercut to Bryan Danielson, a 3 3/4 star match. Then the next matchup was a 3-way Shimmers match, a women's match in Ring of Honor, with defending champion MsChif versus Sara Del Rey versus Daizee Haze. Now, this was a non-title match, and I gotta say, this was one of the very few times in Ring of Honor where I actually could say that they actually showcased the women in the Shimmer division a whole lot better than what they normally do. And very good match here, good women's match. I thought they showcased them well. In most cases, the women's or Shimmer matches in Ring of Honor are pretty much fillers or matches that are done right before another big match and don't seem like they serve any purpose being on here. But this actually was one of those matches that seemed like it served a purpose being on here, and it was actually pretty good. And Sara Del Rey picks up the victory after pinning Daizee Haze after hitting the Royal Butterfly in a 2 3/4 star match. Then the next matchup was Pearce and Shiozaki versus Roderick Strong and Brent Albright, and this was a good tag match. Before the match actually started, they had it first announced that Shiozaki. This was supposed to be a match where Pearce was going to have a mystery partner, and the mystery partner obviously was revealed to be Shiozaki and the new member of Sweet and Sour Incorporated. Before the match started, they had Honky Tonk Man come out there, do a very, very brief appearance for Ring of Honor. When I mean very brief, I mean very brief. He was out there. Larry Sweeney called him out, basically, clamoring up that he's the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time or will ever be. And he was out there for very brief. Now, to the tag match here, pretty good tag match. All these meshed very well. Good tag match. Brent Albright and Pearce did some good stuff. Shiozaki and Strong did some good stuff like you expected. And the end of the match comes when Albright picks the victory up for him and Roderick Strong after hitting repeated knees to Pearce. So he picks up the victory, and I would say a 3 1/4 star match. Then the next matchup was Jerry Lynn versus Nigel McGuinness in a non-title match, and definitely a very good match. And I'm definitely very excited to see Jerry Lynn actually being a part of the Ring of Honor roster now. He's one of the very few wrestlers his age of being in the mid-40s that actually can still go out there and still perform to probably the level that he did in his prime and still actually puts on good matches. And this was a good match. It wasn't a great match. I was expecting a little more from it, but nonetheless, it was a very good match, good back and forth action. These two worked out very good. Nigel obviously getting a lot of heel heat from the fans, and they did a good job in this match, actually seeming like that Jerry Lynn could possibly pick up the victory on Nigel McGuinness. They did a good job with that. Pretty much it looked like Nigel actually did defeat Jerry Lynn, but barely defeated him. When I mean that, Nigel McGuinness only won via a roll-up to Jerry Lynn in a 3 1/2 star match. Overall good match. And then after the match, crowd chants, "Please come back, Jerry Lynn." And now, as everyone knows, Jerry Lynn is actually a regular on the Ring of Honor roster, so that's definitely good to see him in Ring of Honor on a regular full-time basis. Definitely really I've liked him a lot from his past in the original ECW, and I think he's one of those wrestlers that's always been probably one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time. There's a few others, but he's definitely up there, probably being the most underrated. Then the main event was the grudge match between Austin Aries and Jimmy Jacobs, and a lot of great stuff here. Pretty much this was, complete grudge match, a lot of brawl, and this was not one of those matches where it was a great wrestling match. It was a great brawl, and they great storytelling here where these two, within their feud and building up to this match, definitely have always made it seem like they really hate each other, and that's one thing they did a good job in here, that they pretty much wanted to beat the living shit out of each other and do anything to pretty much kill each other in this match. And during this match, Austin Aries had a big cut on his back, and Jimmy Jacobs worked that over, had a foreign object, raked his back several times, even went as far as biting the cut on his back. Very sick spot right there from Jimmy Jacobs. Not that we've never seen it from him before. At one spot, Austin Aries takes a spear from the apron to the guardrail from Jimmy Jacobs. And a lot of good stuff in here. The end of this match comes where it looks like the Age of the Fall of Necro, Butcher, and Tyler Black are going to come out here and try to cost the match for Austin Aries. Briscoes come out there, brawl with them. They brawl to the back of the match where Austin Aries had Jimmy Jacobs in the last chancery, and at that point, MsChif got in the ring and did the double stomp to Austin Aries. Then Austin Aries
got up after that for a little bit, and MsChif was about to go out, get out of the ring. Austin Aries grabbed her, then she spewed the green mist into his face, and then you saw pretty much back and forth. Austin Aries trying to win with the end time. Austin Aries trying to win with the last chancery, and Jimmy Jacobs trying to end with the end time. And the end of the match comes when Austin Aries hit repeated knees to the back of the head after having him in the last chancery. Then goes up, hits the 450. Well, before that, never mind. He does the knees, then gets him into the corner, and hits repeat of drop kicks into the corner to Jimmy Jacobs from Austin Aries. And after that, he's pretty much Jimmy Jacobs pretty much unconscious, gets him down, then goes up, hits the 450 for the victory. And the stipulation of this match was that at the next Chicago Ridge show, which was back on August 26th of 2008 of this year at the Night of the Butcher 2 show, where it was whoever wins this match gets to name the stipulation for their next match on that show. And after the match, Austin Aries gets on the mic and says, it'll be a no DQ match, but a twist. It's not going to be against me. It's going to be against the Necro Butcher. Very good main event, 4 1/4 stars. Overall, I would give the show an 8.5 out of 10, and definitely a show I would recommend. Worth checking out. A lot of good stuff on here. Good main event. Good match with Jerry Lynn and Nigel McGuinness. Great stuff with Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli. And overall, everything else was pretty solid on this show. And the only thing I would say that was probably not that good at all, was mainly the opener, and that was pretty short. So overall, like I said, definitely recommend this show. 8.5 out of 10, and that's it. Peace.